Hey Slavic Vikings, and you guys clearly want more Countryball videos. So today I did some research and found my top 10 favorite Poland ball comics. I chose these specific comics either because they were very relevant for our current times or they were just funny and interesting. And as an immediate warning, I am very bad at accents, but I'll still try to do them for this video. Speaking of, this is our first comic. Sumimasen kolia. Do you know how to stabilize erections? Oh, Japan. Do you not meaning elections? No. So that was the first comic making fun of Asian accents. Very funny. Let's move on to the second comic. Bonjour. Je wanted Federal Europa. Polska also. And then we have the two different visions for a united Europe, where France wants to virtue signal to the United Nations, saying that they did world peace and all that, while Poland just wants a strong Europe to kill Russia. Our next comic starts with Denmark and Sweden fighting, and this happens for 500 years, and some context, Denmark and Sweden are the two countries which have fought the most amount of wars against each other. So then after all this fighting, Denmark says, "This is stupid, why not be one unity kingdom instead?" And Sweden says, "Okay." And then they form the Kalmar Union, and it has a cool flag and all that, but then despite them being united, there's stabbing and they keep fighting internally. And this is referencing the historical fact that despite Denmark and Sweden having one king being united under the Kalmar Union, they still had many internal wars. Denmark and Sweden just can't stop fighting. Our next comic is less of a comic and just an image, since it just has one slide. And this one slide is, as you can see, with the text that says, "The Communist Party of Nepal has now been banned from the server for being a nuisance and abusing power." And this is in reference to the recent events where the Nepalese government tried banning social media stuff like Facebook and stuff, and then the Zoomers in Nepal did a revolution, burning down the parliament building, and throughout all of this, they flew up the One Piece flag. The One Piece flag has kind of become the flag of the Zoomer revolution in Asia. And also they did some unofficial voting for new government stuff through Discord. And this is kind of a cool visual showcase of the huge events that have happened in Nepal recently. Our next comic is about the United States. It starts off by showing that the United States is seeing facts about the school shootings in America causing 148 deaths in 2025. And then America reacts. Why would I care? It's the price to pay for liberty. Even if it means a few deaths every year, it's my Second Amendment right, gosh darn it. And then they find out that Charlie Kirk died. Holy hell! We should be living in a country where no one should live in the fear of getting shot at, for gosh darn it, god diggity darn it, ding dong ding darny doo. So this comic is making fun of the hypocritical mindset of half of America right now. Our next comic is about Iceland. It starts by the native people living in Iceland, and then they start building houses and stuff, but then come the Norwegians, and the Norwegians start annoying the Icelandic people, but then the Danish take over and they annoy them even more. Then the American and Chinese and German tourists come and annoy the Icelandic even more. Even the sheep are annoyed. But then the Icelandic people get an idea. And they think to themselves, that's right, we live in capitalism. So they decided to get rid of their natural beauty. And that is basically the conclusion of this meme. This meme is not that deep. I just included it here because I really like the art style. I really like the cute little sheep. So let's move on. So like we all know, Sweden has a lot of immigrants. So this comic starts off by showing Sweden getting annoyed by these immigrants and trying to kick them out. So they say, "Schas, go away, remove the kebab, go back to öken. Ah, finally, lugn och ro. Time off to get some kebab pizza. Oh yeah. There's no more kebab pizza because the people who make the kebab pizza are now gone. So it turns out that the immigrants are good for something. Oh, yo, 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 yo. Much like the Iceland comic, this next comic is mostly included because of its incredible art style. And it is a pretty long comic, so I won't read all this text so you can read it yourself while I slowly go through it. But it's basically a comic about the history of French and UK relationships. So it starts all the way in the Roman Empire, moves through the Middle Ages, through the many wars it had. And by the way, remember my fun fact from earlier where Sweden and Denmark are the two countries with the most amount of wars against each other? Well, they're the second two countries who have had the most amount of wars with each other. And this Countryball comic really shows that by showing how much history these two countries share. The Napoleonic Wars, their race to colonize the world, and then they united during World War One and World War Two to defeat the Nazis and stuff. And then after all this, they joined the EU together, but then the UK, of course, left the EU. And at the end, we have here France leaving the EU for a second to take a sip of wine and tea with the UK. This comic is really cool. I love how visually engaging it is and how it summarizes the history of the UK and England, two very cool countries with amazing histories. So moving on, we go from the most complicated comic on our list to the most simple one. So this next comic is showing the annual meeting of the unhated nations. And since geopolitics is such a heated matter, we only have one country on this annual meeting board, and that is Canada, since everyone loves Canada. Oh, sorry, they're so apologetic, and they have no enemies. Except maybe Trump now, but whatever, we kind of forgot about all that. I've already talked about in my other Countryball videos about how annoying I find it that in these Countryball comics, even narrations and native English speakers talk in this broken English. Only other countries like France and Poland should speak in broken English. Why is narration in broken English? It's just annoying to read and hard to understand. So for this last comic on our list, I'll try to just translate it so it's actually understandable. So, at first, there was nothing in the universe. Then there was a big bang, and it created all things in life. But skipping forward a very long time, we have the first civilization. So the first humans came into being around 2.8 million years ago, and they learned skills that we use to this day. However, their conditions weren't the best, because when Russia pulled up with their glorious T-34 tank, they instantly wanted to join the Russian motherland and become Russian. Everyone wants to become Russian. And that, my fellow comrade Countryballs, is why every modern nation is a historical Russian claim. So this comic makes fun of Russia for going hundreds of years back in history to justify its claims, when we all know that Russia and Putin openly say that Russia's borders don't end anywhere, so they will find any justification to invade and integrate any country on Earth. So that's what this meme is making fun of. You could also just swap out Russia for Israel here, but you get my point with this meme. It's a pretty good meme, making fun of how some countries go back infinitely in history to justify their crimes and stuff. But with that last comic, we have covered my top 10 favorite Countryball comics. First of all, I would like to say that I really like Poland Ball comics because you learn a lot from them. You learn geography, history, and geopolitics and stuff. Secondly, I wanted to say that I purposefully didn't cover any of the comics that were in my last video on the most popular Countryball comics. So if you want to check out those, just check out my last videos on Countryballs. They're in the playlist you can see right now. But obviously the most popular, the most upvoted Countryball comics are also gonna be some of the best. So check out that video. Write in the comments what Countryball content do you want me to cover next. Do you like these reviews and reading of comics, or do you want more specific in-depth Countryball videos? Give me some ideas in the comments. What do you want to see? Consider subscribing. You can always unsubscribe later. And as always, farewell, żegnam, and goodbye.